Hello everyone, welcome back to Atlas Horizons. We are exploring evolutionary simulations on Xylosa, our planet. As this is our first analysis video, I will take the first bit here to kind of explain my idea for this channel and where it's going to be going. So when you get onto the ride and you maybe go back to watch this, you understand kind of more what's happening, or we'll see. I'm going to do this for all of them. On this channel, we're going to be randomly generating these species for this first season and seeing kind of how they randomly generate. So we have like 2 species of this one, and we're going to do quite a few, probably 30 something around there. Various species that are kind of loosely connected evolutionarily. They've all going to be coming from like some common ancestor that is roughly one of these groups. So if you're a vertebrate, you came from something with a backbone, kind of roughly, sort of, kind of. And at the end of this season, there'll be an extinction event to kind of make the end of an age. And we will be seeing kind of what makes it through. And then season 2, we will have organisms evolve off of those. And other thing about the extinction event is we will be the animal's stats for survival will be based off of various things, such as if they're water-based and it was like a water-based extinction, or if they are small or big, stuff like that. And then we'll kind of see how this planet evolves over time as family trees kind of happen and certain species die out. And this is all going to be happening on our planet Xylosa, which is a planet I made. It's pretty similar to Earth for a lot of the ways. It obviously is pre-plants or anything for the most part. It's everything starting in the water. The lore might be deep ocean with the way this episode is. So maybe everything came from the deep ocean. There is algae. There is plant life of a sort. Does it look like ours? Somewhat. Maybe not exactly. Haven't played with it too much. We maybe can start rolling plants at some point if that's something that we wish to do. We have our 5 main continents. And more importantly, for this season, we have our 4 big oceans. We have the Prexica Ocean, which is our kind of deep, really open ocean that kind of covers most of the world. We have the Sudpa Ocean, which is kind of our like northern ocean that's still coastal to a degree. We have the Kilikomor Ocean, which is kind of that interior passageway, and we have the Burtan Ocean down to the south, which is kind of a more Arctic ocean than the other two, but still somewhat coastal to a degree and not as deep as the Prexica. We have the 5 continents, which we have Akran in the north, Praelos in the west, Chobal in the east, Strupan in the south, along with Agora. At the moment, there's nothing on these. They're just desolate rocks, hence why their colors are that way. We'll see. They'll probably be moving in future seasons, so we'll see how they eventually move around. And then I guess we can pretty much get to our animals at this point. So our first animal was Cilipede, which is Latin for wheelfoot. This one took me a lot of thinking to kind of come up with an idea of how it would move, considering it has 1 limb. And it's fast on top of that, which is not easy. I thought maybe it could be certain ways. But this specimen is it's a large size. We have a pretty large specimen for our first one. 10 to 12 inches is going to be probably one of the biggest species in the first season. And it's a scavenger and it's deep ocean organism. And the way I kind of see this animal kind of operating is kind of somewhat as it will roll towards other animals like that have died and fallen to the floor, and will kind of scare them off with its larger size and its speed being able to get there fairly quick before it's all gone. Since it's on the deep ocean, it's on the ocean floor, and the way it kind of moves is, I know my pictures aren't the best. Hopefully they get a bit better. It kind of rolls and kicks off with that 1 limb, kind of propelling itself forward, kind of like a wheel. It can extend outward flat too when it's eating and stuff, obviously. But that's kind of how it moves generally. Is it kind of rolls in a ball and kicks off, kind of propels itself forward, kind of like a wheel, basically. It's just like a kick wheel. You rolling on a hill and kicking every once in a while on your skateboard or something, kind of something like that, kind of. Not quite, but to that degree. Yeah, I think it's a pretty interesting specimen. The colors on it are pretty vibrant. That seems to be a trend for this one for the deep ocean. So, not exactly sure why they're so colored, most of these deep ocean organisms, but they are. Maybe Their ocean has some light source on the bottom. I mean, there's bioluminescent algae has been more common. At the moment, I'm not too sure. None of them are glowing. They're just colored. So when you pull them out, they kind of color, which is interesting. The other animal we had this week was called a glacialis, meaning ice-tailed land. This organism is a little bit more what you would kind of expect out of early life. It's got a decent size. It's still pretty big, but it's not huge. It's lives in a colder area than Solipede, but it is still deep ocean, so it just kind of clicks to like lightly colder areas, maybe a little deeper, maybe a little bit more northern, more southern. Deep ocean doesn't actually change much based on your where you are on the Earth. It's more just like how deep you are and the various water currents that are hitting it. So, but it hibernates and it's super cold. So the way I kind of is an omnivore. So the way I believe this organism would kind of fall into our xylosin ecosystem is it kind of operates kind of like a bear on land, where if it gets too cold, it kind of like maybe hibernates, hence the name icetail. Maybe when there's ice around, it kind of hibernates and kind of tries to push through it that way. And since it's omnivorous, it just kind of goes and eats whatever it can kind of get its hands on. Like it's probably living at like the coldest part of the deep ocean and kind of just eking out like a lifestyle there, eating whatever it kind of can find. It's not the top of the ecosystem, unlike bears. It's probably more like a hyena, I guess, in that aspect. But you can eat anything. Um, Again, it has crazy colors. Like, man. So kind of similar thing. Not too sure why they have crazy colors. Maybe it's just a byproduct of like some other thing that's happening in the deep sea at this moment. But for the right now, they're mostly deep sea organisms. If they come out of the water, which will kill them because they'll explode due to the low level of pressure. But they are very brightly colored. Um, we will go forward with these two, and we'll see how they kind of evolve into the next era and how they can kind of cohabit with each other. I definitely feel like Solipede would kind of maybe be eating Gotta glacialis, and to a degree vice versa. If they find a dead one, they might go after a dead Solipede. But Solipede's a little bigger than Gotta glacialis. I don't really think it'd be really hunting it all that much. But Solipede would definitely be eating the odd dead Claudoglacia, so it's kind of cool they both were in the same one. They both don't really inhabit the inner oceans, like the Sudpa, Calicomore, and Burton oceans. It's just too warm for them. There's not much deep ocean there. With the Solipede head being a little closer to the coast, just because it is a little bit warmer water versus the Glacialis, which is pretty much strictly very cold water. So, not going to be seeing many of these make it to land. That is another thing on the next stage. Next stage, you will be able to go on to land, but you will have to be like adjacent to it. So both these organisms will not be making it to land in next season, no matter what they do. Maybe further on they could, but for the moment they will not be. I'm very curious to see how they both do. I think they're both very interesting organisms. Their Glacialis is very like multi-purposeful. So it has like a very high chance of survival, usually through an extinction event. Things that aren't specialized. Solipede is kind of just like a really weird scavenger. It's kind of just a basic scavenger with a really weird way of transport. So I don't really see it having huge problems, but it may struggle to move in certain landscapes, so that may hold it back, such as like open ocean. It can't really swim in that with the way it's currently made, just because it's pure ocean and it doesn't really have that. So maybe if it went like and turned itself more similar to like a crocodilian or like a fish with like a tail, but at the moment it doesn't really have any real ability to swim. Its main ability is just to roll and kind of crawl around and eat at the dead bodies that lie on the ocean floor of Xylosa. And that's pretty much it for this first analysis, guys. If you have any questions or suggestions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I want to try and make this channel, like I said, as best as possible. I am still trying to figure out this formatting and making sure that it is the right thing. I am trying to improve some of my stuff, such as my drawing skills and my editing skills. If you want the Spinwoody videos to be less funny and more sciencey, or this to be more funny, less sciencey, feel free to send a message about that in the comments there. or any suggestions. I really am looking forward to evolving this world with you guys. If you aren't following them and you want to, there is a TikTok also, because this will only be on YouTube, the analysis videos. And there's a Patreon where I am trying to upload early, and I will do votes on some stuff. And like I said, you can also get an animal named after you go on there. So if you want to have like, for example, if I did one for myself, it'd be like at Lycia or something, at Lycia Pete or something kind of similar like that. So that could be something you could do. You could see your organism's family kind of grow throughout time. If you think that's something interesting and you want to do that, I'd really appreciate that and support, as I really want to take this as far as we can go. And that's pretty much it for the first video, everybody. Thank you for joining in, and until next time, bye.